Okay, Kelly, you had a couple questions. Let's start with cropping the image because that was my very first step. I went up to the top and I set my width at 12 inches, my height at 8 inches. The resolution is blank. Never, ever, ever fill in the resolution. Always leave it blank. So what I did was grabbed it and decided to play with it. You'll notice that in Photoshop CS5 it gives you the rule of thirds. Well, I wanted to make sure that I kept the end of his guitar. I'd really like to have been able to crop more of that off over here, but that was not working. So by doing this, then you can crop it down to wallet size or 5 by 7, 4 by 6, 8 by 10. So when I piddled around enough that I liked where it fell in the rule of thirds, drawing attention at least to his face, which is always better, then I just clicked the check mark and there you were. Now, I noticed that his t-shirt's a little blown out, which causes his skin to be a little blown out as well. So I went up to Image, and I went to Adjustments, and I went to Levels. And on the levels, you'll notice that the white, there isn't very much, and there's more in the black, but I could move the white along, and it darkened up your rocks quite a bit. And if I grabbed the center slider and moved it, it really juiced it up quite a bit. But it also made his face really orange because it's reflecting off the guitar. So then just click OK. And you can roll in, and you'll notice that here his eyes don't seem to have a pupil. They've got great catch light, but they don't seem to have a pupil. So what I'm going to do is jump to the next picture so I can show you what I did. And let's scroll in and let me drop these off. So you may not have noticed, but what I did was, here's the difference. I took and made a copy of his eye. I went over here and I selected the lasso tool. I made a copy of his eye. I hit Feather 1. And then what I did was, then I made a layer of your copy, which I'm not going to do because I've already done that. And then when I grabbed the tool and I went to Edit, Transform, Scale, I made his eye larger. You can see that when I switch back and forth. Made his eyebrows a little larger, opened his eyes just a little. And then I made a new layer. And on that new layer, make sure it's highlighted, I drew with the elliptical marquee tool, I drew a circle like this, made sure it was centered, and I filled it with black. Once I filled it with black, I went to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I softened the edges up just a little. Once that's done, if it's too big, you can go to Edit, Transform, and scale it till it fits better. Now you'll notice that eyeballs and pupils and things are never perfectly circular. So you just keep pushing it around, and if all else fails, then go ahead and delete and start again, or use your eraser and clean it up to the size you need. Also, then I made another layer on top of that one, and I made little, with my paintbrush, I made little circles, and then I took my eraser brush and erased what I didn't need so that I had catch lights. You'll notice that catch lights in both eyes are different. That is true because the light doesn't reflect equally onto most surfaces, and so if they were identical, it would look like I copied that eye over. You'll notice this eye is squinted just a little bit more, so the catch light is definitely off. Then I went ahead and I merged those layers, which I'm going to delete because I've already done that. I merged those layers, and then I flattened them to this background right here. So you can see the difference. The next thing I did was I grabbed this little tool here. It is the patch tool. The healing brush tool and the spot healing tool, they're frustrating. So I went to the patch tool, and these spots, let me move this out here so we can see it. These little spots on his head, I just grab them, put a little circle around them, and gently drag, and bingo, they're gone. As you'll notice, I've done that pretty much all over his face, along his cheeks, anywhere that looked just a little rough. And then, all right, let's back out. Okay,